it's Lipstick Gal. Thanks so much for watching today. I'm going to do another round of recommendations for the Sephora sale. Now, the reason I wanted to do this is because after recording the one earlier this week, I'll link it for you in the description box and I'll put it up here in the cards for you. I realized there were so many things that I forgot to mention. I was like, I can't do that. So I want to give you another round of here are things that I truly love that I reach for regularly in my collection, and I would recommend wholeheartedly to you. Now, I know that if you are VIB Rouge, like someone like me who spends way too much at Sephora, sale starts today. Today's the day, let's go. But if you aren't, if you are an insider or just a VIB, then you can actually start shopping the sale on the 9th. So I'll have the code for you in the description box, the dates down there for you, but let me give you another round of things that I have loved and really, really enjoyed. And I'll link that previous video for you in the description box as well. And remember, the first portion of the video, if you haven't watched it, is kind of giving you reminders of how to conscientiously shop the sale, how to make a list, how you prioritize, make sure you're spending your money on things you're actually going to use and not getting aspirational makeup, and definitely not overspending, because I've done it before and I've regretted it. But I don't want you to think that I'm telling you need all of these things. I just want to describe things to you that might be like, ooh, that's what I've been looking for. Didn't know about that. All right, so let me start with foundation. There are two products here that both end up kind of on the glowy side. I have combo skin. I'm 49 years old, so I do have problems if I don't set things properly, products settling into my wrinkles or into my crow's feet or into like the little lines here at the corners of my mouth or in the corners of my nose. So I like products that sit well and look beautiful. And when it comes to foundations, one of my favorites is this one here. Now, this is not a new one, and you can see I've had mine for a while because I've been working through it. This is the Shiseido Synchro Skin Radiant Lifting Foundation. This does have an SPF 30 in it. Remember, you're always going to want to wear a dedicated SPF. This foundation is great because guess what? She is pigmented, but it doesn't ever end up looking heavy or too much. But this is so beautiful. This is one of those that when I thin it out with a damp sponge, turns into exactly what I'm looking for, where it just looks like skin, but all of the discoloration, all of the redness is just dialed down. If you want full coverage, you could use this with a brush or your fingers, and you could really get a little bit more coverage, but I like that a damp sponge kind of picks up the excess, so there's not too much going on. Another one of my favorite foundations, this is one that I'm wearing today, and I've had this for about a year, and I fell back in love with it again. It's this. This is the Givenchy Prismalibre Skin Caring Glow Foundation. So this is one that is a little bit more lightweight, a little bit more radiant. A whole pump is not what I need for the back of my hand, so just keep that in mind. It might look a little much, but this is one where there's a little bit, they're both glowy, but this has a little bit more glow. And this is one where there's fragrance to this, so keep that in mind if you don't do well with fragrances. But this is the one I'm wearing today, and this is the perfect amount of coverage where I feel like, yes, you can still see some hyperpigmentation spots, but my redness is gone. Everything just looks kind of smoothed out and better. I am not sensitive to fragrance and products, so that doesn't really bother me, but this Givenchy one here, this Care and Glow, this is beautiful. And it gives me just a little bit, I would say it's kind of like a light medium coverage, where this one here is kind of like more medium full. But I like them for different reasons, but they both offer that sort of glowy, beautiful, skin-like finish, and they don't end up settling into my lines, and they don't end up going where I don't want them. They're just beautiful. So for powders, oh my goodness, I can't believe I forgot to tell you about this. I've been loving this powder for years, and this is like my fourth one I've repurchased. I just keep going back to it, and I have a limited edition one here, but this is the Pat McGrath Skin Fetish Sublime Blurring Under Eye Powder. I have the lightest shade here. This one's just called Light. There's a new one. There's a pale pink one. So if you like an under eye brightening powder, this formula that is so whisper thin, looks like nothing, doesn't settle into any of your crinkles, doesn't dry me out. I love this. Now she's expensive, $30+. but this is fantastic. The product sits so beautifully on my skin. I try and make sure I don't use this like all over, because it's very easy for me to start setting my under eyes and then just keep spreading powder everywhere, because you're not getting as much here as you would on a larger compact. This is, you can use it all over your face. It looks beautiful over your face, but that's an expensive way to spend your powder dollars. But I have loved this for so long, and it is amazing. The one that I am wearing today, and I love so much, and I hit pan while I was getting my face done, is the Kosas Cloud Set. Look at this. I just found the bottom of the pan. This is a beautiful powder because this doesn't look dry. This is the powder for people who have dry skin, or for the powder for people who want to look dewy without their makeup traveling. This is it. This is beautiful. I wear the lightest shade in Airy, and I love it so much. I'll pick it up on my fingers sometimes in the summertime and like hit the corners of my nose, because I tend to have a lot of excess oil on my nose, and it helps to, you know, kind of calm things down, or like tap it over the bridge of my nose. I'll take it with a damp sponge, and you know, I'll be able to like kind of clean up down here or hit the under eye area with it. The only thing I wish it had a mirror. It's a beautiful, beautiful powder. It's not drying. It doesn't make you look like you're wearing a lot of powder. I really have liked this a lot. And obviously, you know, the minute you hit pan, yeah, it's a fave. I picked up a corrector that is not new, that is kind of like a holy grail for a lot of people. And I was like, oh, I don't know, let me see. Because I've been using the same corrector for years now. For like 3 years, the last 3 years, I've been using the one from Beauty Pie. Before that, I was using the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Vanish. Like, I need a corrector because my under eyes, there are dark circles. And I decided on a whim to pick this one up here from Bobbi Brown. This is the corrector stick. This is the lightest shade in Light Bisque. So it is literally a stick like this, but when I swipe this underneath my eyes and blend it in, it is beautiful, especially when I'm wearing a lot of hydration under the eyes. This is a slightly firmer formula than some of the other ones that I like. The other ones have a little bit more of an emollient feel to them, and that emolliency tends to, if I don't like really pack on the powder and I put a hydrating concealer over the top, things start to slip and slide. This, I'm not saying that she's dry, because she's not, but she is not the dewiest thing out there. And what I want is I want to put this, tap this where I need it, and then I want it to stay there. And I want anything that sits on top of it to have kind of like a good base. This is so great for that. This is one of those things that I can see myself repurchasing. Are there other correctors in my collection? Yeah. Have I kind of been reaching for them? Nah. I've been going for the Bobbi Brown one. It's really good. All right, there's a couple of concealers that I love, love, love. The one that I'm wearing today is the Tower 28 Serum Concealer, the Swipe On or Swipe All Over, whatever it's called. This is beautiful. This is so nice. So I have this on. I wear the shade, I think it's BU. Yep, BU. I don't know what that stands for, but that's okay. I think it's the second lightest shade, but it's brightening, it's radiant, it's moisturizing. This is one where if I don't set it with powder, because I do have those fine lines under my eyes, it can kind of slip into those fine lines. So this is one that I can't wear like on a day when I don't set my face. Needs must set my face when I'm wearing this. But it also goes on other places, like I'll hit my hyperpigmentation spot, I'll get some of the redness on my chin, corners of my nose, and then I'll just either use a damp sponge or a brush and blend it in. And I'm not putting it all over like foundation, just kind of spot concealing and hitting my under eyes. And I look like a new person. It's a beautiful formula. It doesn't just work for coverage, but if you're using it under the eyes and you know you're not 12, take a little powder along with you, because it's gonna need to be set just a little bit, or it might creep into and you'll have your creases, and you'll have like maybe little lines of concealer. But it's so beautiful. It's so comfortable. It looks so good. Another one that I love to use that way when I'm not gonna wear foundation, I just want under eyes and then like spot concealing, is the Stretch Concealer from Glossier. I have gone through, this is I think my third pot of it, and I wear the shade Very Light 2. This is such a beautiful concealer. I like that when I put it on, oh, I just noticed, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but I hit the bottom. I didn't know that. There is pan in this. Oh man. It's less radiant than the one from Tower 28. And I feel like but the look of it on the skin, what I like about this one is that if I don't set this one, This one kind of doesn't set into my crinkles. Now, on a hot day, or if I'm perspiring or I have a hot flash or whatever, because that's the time of life I'm in right now, it can like, oh, it's not bulletproof. But on a day where I'm not running around outside in the heat, where I'm kind of, you know, indoor office sort of stuff, man, this is a beautiful, beautiful concealer. And it's another one of those that I don't absolutely have to use with the foundation. It looks great with foundation, but sometimes this and a little bit of pinpoint concealing, perfect skin. Here's something else from Glossier that I tried recently, and it's new and I love it. This is the Cloud Paint, but these are the bronzer shades. This is the lightest shade in Sale. This is so, so pretty because this has that same slightly transparent, not quite watercolor. This is beautiful because it is kind of like a hydrating, but almost a serum feeling sort of product. If you've ever tried the Cloud Paints in the blush formula, this feels just like it, only these are bronzer shapes. By the way, I have a bruise here. Don't mind that. But I like that the color is not too much. I have been using this on my face on days when I'm wearing cream and liquid products, and I take a large, what would normally be like a foundation buffing brush. I'll put some on the back of my hand. I'll do this and I'll get the product kind of distributed in through here. And then I start stamping on my face. Perfect distribution. It's amazing. This has been one of those things. The color is not too warm. It's a beautiful kind of neutral. This Sale shade is beautiful, and the color on the cheeks looks nice and it stays. I think this is great. I actually have been reaching for this more than I have for the blush in this formula. Another bronzer that I love is this one from Pat McGrath. This is the Divine Bronzer. I have this shade Honey Nude, but it is beautiful. This is the one that I'm wearing today. It is so pretty. This is one where I feel like, you know, if I take the right brush, and I'm using kind of like a big bronzing brush here, but I can pick it up and then I can just kind of like stamp it on, and it never gets to be too much. And I think a lot of it has to do with this specific shade, but this formula is so beautiful. I really like the powder formulas from Pat McGrath. I like this one. In the last video I did with recommendations, I talked about the blush formula, which is beautiful. This bronzer formula is also fantastic. I love these, highly recommend. I recently picked up a new shade of the Patrick Ta blush. I mentioned it in my previous video. It's a shade Not Too Much, but it made me start thinking about the other things I have from the brand. And I forgot how good this bronzer and contour duo is. This is the shade She's Statuesque. But I like that we have like a cream contour here and then a warmer bronzer. They're so pretty. This one's really neutral. This one's really warm. They work so well together. And if you were already doing Patrick's system with, you know, like the powder and kind of like the cream product with the blush, this makes so much sense. And these are so beautiful as well. I really do like this. And since I've been reaching for the other Patrick, I was like, what else do I have? This is great. Most of the things I'm talking about today are not new. Not new at all, because I feel like if we're only ever chasing what's new, we get into that habit of purchasing. I do it because I have a YouTube channel and I have a beauty budget, but I don't want you to feel that way. So I wanted to make sure I'm talking about things that have been out for a while. There's a couple of new things here, but I wanted to talk mostly about things that have been out for a while that are worth your hard-earned dollars. All right, one of my favorite blushes that I've had forever is Charlotte Tilbury. I think this formula is beautiful. I'm gonna be careful because mine just cracked. You can see it has some cracks in it, but they're two tones. I really, really like that. This is the shade Sex on Fire. It's the one that I'm wearing today. And I like that if I want to go a little bit lighter, I'll hit the outside ring, or if I want a little bit more color, I'll go for the inside one, or I'll mix them together. Or you could do like this everywhere and then this on the apple. These are so great because you get to customize the shade that you want. I've had a couple of other ones in this formula, and I've ended up giving them to a friend or to one of my kids. The formula is beautiful. Charlotte does beautiful powders, but this shade specifically in Sex on Fire, because I'm a fair gal, this is fantastic. Another blush that I absolutely love that is just enough and not too much, but she's luxury, is this one here from Gucci. This is their matte luminous powder. This is the shade Rosy Beige, number 5. Mine is so used that it doesn't even say Gucci on here anymore. It used to, but not anymore. This is what it looks like. It looks even better when you use a brush, but me just watching it on the back of my hand, I like that it's kind of lightweight. You can build it for sure, but it doesn't instantly go on like too much. The other thing I like about it is, even though it is a matte powder, it's called a luminous matte because it doesn't look like a powdery flat matte. It looks like there's no pearl, there's no shimmer to it, but there's something about it that has a little bit more skin-like quality. This is a beautiful formula. I also, man, I'm a sucker for this little Gucci compact. It's so pretty with the stars, but she's tiny, but she's mighty. I really like this. Here's another thing that I didn't think they were still making, and I saw it on the Sephora website and I was like, I love that. So I pulled it out to use today. And this is a Charlotte Tilbury product that came out a long time ago. And I don't know how old mine is, but it's this. This is the Glowgasm Face Palette. I think this was relaunched recently, but it started out as a limited edition product, but it has a bronzer. It has 2 glowy blushes and a highlight. There used to be a deeper quad. I only saw this Lightgasm version on the Sephora website when I was looking last night, but this is one of those where if you see it and you're wondering, it's kind of expensive, it's $75, but you're getting that percentage off. I've had this one for a long time, but I like the highlight. I feel like Charlotte does glowy products really well. It's just enough, it's not too much, especially if you have mature skin. I never end up with like such a crazy frosty, like textured look on my cheeks from products from Charlotte Tilbury. And I tend to like the tones of all of the bronzers. I have some of her like face and eye palettes, the like instant look in a palettes. I have 2 of those. I have the Hollywood Bronze and Glow. I have the powder bronzer. I have the cream bronzer. I have a lot of bronzers from Charlotte Tilbury and this one in here, and they're all really beautiful. They're really good. I feel like these kind of complexion products that she comes out with that are more like for the cheeks are beautiful. If you see this, I'm glad they have it back because I try not to use things on camera that are discontinued or limited edition you can't get. But I was like, guess what? I saw it on Sephora. They have it and it's really nice. One of my favorite brow duos is from Glossier. It is the Boy Brow and the Brow Flick. The Brow Flick is one of those marker style pens. This is one I just have to tell you, I have to be careful. I have to be careful because sometimes there is more ink in the tip of this pen than I think, and I go and I put it in, oh, whoa, that's a lot. So what I usually do and what I did today is I take this is their kind of volumizing tinted brow gel, and I love how tiny the spoolie is, but I always end up wiping the excess on the back of my hand because I don't have really voluminous brows. So I'll wipe off the bulk of it, and then I'll go through and back comb my brows, and then brush them up and place them, and anywhere I have a gap, that's where the pen comes in. And in doing that, I feel like I get nice brows. I just have to make sure I don't go overboard because you can go overboard with a marker style pen in your eyebrows. But I love on a day when I'm wearing hardly anything, just like a little bit of under eye corrector, a little bit of lip gloss. And this is what I reach for on that natural day when I want brows that look like they're set, but they don't look like they're done. Let's talk about some eyeshadow. There's one product. This one is a little bit divisive. I'm just gonna say that because there are some people who hate this product, who think it's terrible, who think it's bad. I actually really like it and it works really well for me. And on the days when I gotta run and I want a one shadow look and I wanna go now, I reach for this. This is the Merit Solo Shadow. I have 2 of these. I reach for this one here in Century, mid-century, just a little bit more. And I can either put it on with my finger, or I can use the brush that they made for it. It's the number 2 brush. Hang on. So here is the number 2 brush from Merit. It is a double-ended brush. This is what I usually will pick up like the product here and I'll buff it in. And then if I want to accentuate anything along the bottom lash line, I'll use the smaller side. This brush, like I specifically got this brush to make this easy peasy. And it is. And the one thing you want to know is you want to blend one eye at a time, because if you don't blend one eye at a time, guess who sets and then does not budge? This guy does. It is beautiful. And this is the sort of thing, I'll take a very little bit of it and just kind of create a shadow in the hollow of my crease, and it is stunning. And it stays all day, and I don't have to worry about it creasing. It doesn't go anywhere, but I don't have oily eyelids. But I really, really like this, and so many people found them difficult and stiff and hard to use, and I've never had that problem. Never, never, never. But I don't put some here and put some here, and then no, I one eye at a time, because it dries quickly, and when it dries, that's it. I was looking to make sure this palette was still available because it's not new. It's kind of been out for several years, but I reach for it every spring and I love it. I'm wearing it today and it brings me so much joy. This is the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz. This is the only Huda Beauty eyeshadow palette I have. I don't have any of the other ones. And I think that's interesting because I remember when they first started making, the brand first started making eyeshadow, they loved it. And then, oh, this one's not as good. And then the next one. So I felt like they were kind of like inconsistent. And I feel like depending on the size, if you get one of the smaller, like 9-pans, I feel like some people are not having good results with the new cream 9-pan palette. Other people really like them. I don't know. They kind of remind me of how Too Faced, you never knew what you were getting. Like, even though it comes in the same packaging, it may not be as good as the last one, or it may be way better. This palette though, the quality of this palette is stunning. And you can see I have been all up in this. So this tends to be a little bit cooler. You have more of those pinks and purples in here. I don't wear a lot of these shades here, but these ones that have that purpley blue shift, oh, I love. I don't know that I really need anything like that on the eye, but let's just, you know, for a little funsies, tap a little bit on. All right, so I was not planning on putting on any more eyeshadow, but I love this kind of really reflective, almost opalescent, bluey purple sort of shade. And there's a lot of those in here. I was using this one and this one, but you could certainly go for these guys. There is one in here that's interesting. A lot of people had problems with it. This is kind of like a cream shadow, and it does have a really pretty pearl to it. You can see it, but it's definitely kind of more like a cream shadow or a gloss. I don't always use it unless I'm using just that, but this is just such a great palette. Huda palettes are a little on the pricier side, but you're getting so many shades in here. I mean, there's 18 shades. I love that. And sometimes I'll use like these 9 here, and sometimes I'll use these 9 here. And sometimes I just like pick, I want some of this, I want some of that. But I love that this can bring and deliver so many looks. And you don't have like a really light and a really dark. You've got some really fun colors with some beautiful and nuanced undertones. You've got some taupes in here. You definitely have like a bronze. You have the pinks. You've got this really dark kind of grayed out brown. They're just, it's lovely. It's lovely. It's lovely. Part of me feels like I should try more eyeshadow palettes from Huda, but nothing really calls to me. And it's weird that this one would, those kind of pinkies and purple shades, but I really like this palette. If you don't have it, I went through and I looked through all of the eyeshadow palettes last night as I was looking through. There's a lot that I have that I'm just like, I don't know, or things that have come out that I'm just not interested in. This is still one that I love to reach for, and I always get really pretty ethereal looks. So my favorite eyeliner right now from Sephora is the one from One Size. Their, what is it? Their Point Made gel liner. Oh, so good. But another one that's great and affordable is this Sephora 12-Hour Colorful Gel Pencil. This is the shade Cocoa, but I'm wearing this today. This is fantastic. I have it in my upper waterline, like right up in here. I have it shoved in between my lashes. I have it right along like the lash line on top. This is great, and it holds so well. This really kind of doesn't budge. When this sets, it's great. The other thing is that everything from the Sephora collection is going to be 30% off during the entirety of the sale. So if there's something you want to try, I was thinking there's a new kind of glossy lipstick that they just released. I'm like, and I need more lipstick, like I need another hole in my head. But yes, I'm curious about that. And another one of my favorite mascaras, I am such a Lancome mascara stan. I am. I really do like the Idol. I'm wearing this today. This is a very different type of brush, and look on the lashes than my favorite from Lancome, which is the Monsieur Big. This is kind of like my second favorite because the wand is curved. It's more of that molded kind of silicone brush, but I get really like lifted, but also very separated lashes. I get a lot of separation with this, where with the Monsieur Big, it tends to be very voluminous and a little bit, you can keep it from getting clumpy, but sometimes I like a little clumpage on my lashes, and it's a very intense look. This is definitely a little bit lighter weight, but also holds tight all day. They have this and the Monsieur Big in a waterproof version, but I never want to have to deal with working that hard to take my mascara off. So I just get the original ones, and they're beautiful. They last all day. They don't crumble. They don't smudge. They don't transfer. They're just good. If I'm totally honest, the reason I'm making this video is I forgot to include some of my favorite lip products. As I was editing the previous video that you'll find in the description bar, I was like, how did I not mention? I forgot, and I don't know how I forgot because they're just so good. And I'm talking about the Merit lipsticks. These are beautiful. There is a new matte formula that just came out a handful of weeks ago. And then there's the original kind of cream formula. The signature lightweight cream formula is so good because this is one of those where you can kind of see your skin through it. It's not really heavy. You can build it up because I mean, I can definitely get more opacity with this if I want. This is one of my favorite shades in 1990. It's definitely, you know, kind of like a deep brown, but it's comfortable, it's hydrating. It doesn't really leave my lip line. It doesn't go outside of the vermilion border and travel, but it keeps my lips in a really beautiful, hydrated, soft and cushy state. I have 5 of the original like cream satin formulas. There is one, I will tell you, I love it. It's the shade called L'Avenue. And it's kind of like a burgundy shade. Hang on, let me grab it. All right, here we go. This is L'Avenue. It's beautiful. I love it. It's a gorgeous berry shade. The only thing that I would say, if you have very lined lips or your lips tend to be dry or mature, I do have those vertical lines. None of the other lipsticks in this satin or cream formula do it, but this one here in the shade L'Avenue can sometimes settle into the lines of my lips. And then I have like dark lines of pigment. There's still color on the rest of my lips, but it kind of sinks into those corners and cracks. So I don't have that problem with any of the other ones. I have Cabo, I have Baby, I have Aperitif, and I have 1990, and I love, love, love. L'Avenue is the only one that I've tried that does that. But their new matte lipsticks, oh my goodness. So I'm wearing the one today called Equestrian, which is another brown lipstick. It's so pretty. So this is Equestrian. And what's interesting is that when I was putting this on for the first time, I was like, do I have the right lipsticks? I thought I was putting on one of the cream lipsticks because that feels the same. It is lightweight. You don't feel like you're wearing a lot, but it is creamy. It has a nice slip to it. Here's another one of my favorite shades. This one here is called Vermilion. Oh my goodness. The warm red is Vermilion. They do have a cool red called Power, but there are 8 shades in the matte formula and there are 8 shades in the satin formula. These are beautiful lipsticks, and the best part, they're 26 bucks. I will be honest and say that last year, 2023, was the year of lip oils for me and tinted lip balms. I was so big into lip oils and lip balms, and I know warmer weather is coming and I can't wait. All right, but let me tell you 2 of my favorite ones from Sephora. Here's one. You can see I've been going through this. This is the Ami Collet lip oil, and this one here is the shade, I think this one's called Excellence. Oh, but it's so pretty. Look at that. It's so glossy. And this is also very hydrating. This feels more like a lip treatment than a lip oil. I feel like it kind of walks the line of being more gloss-like and less oil-like. It doesn't feel like thin and oily. It feels kind of heavy. You do have to be careful. If you don't like lip gloss that kind of sticks to itself in strings, that happens sometimes if you put too much of this on. If you don't, it's beautiful. Your lips are hydrated and nourished. And this stays. Like, I can get hours of wear out of this. There are other lip oils that I have or lip glosses that I have that every 30-40 minutes I'm like, I need more, I need more. And I know that's the case because it doesn't last as long as maybe a long wear lipstick, but this is great. It is so beautiful. And the other one that I'm also in love with, and it's so good. This is the Clarins lip oil. This is the shade Chocolate. All right, so here is Chocolate. The one thing I would say is, You want to make sure you're reading, because there are several shades in the Clarins line where, guess what? They're pH adjusting. I am not a pH adjusting fan. It always just looks bright pink. I mean, it looks like this, like I'm wearing a hot pink. It's not what I want. But this one here doesn't have any pH adjusters to it. And I like, this one here feels more like an oil. It is thin. You can apply with reckless abandon. It doesn't string, it doesn't goop, doesn't settle and puddle into the corners of your mouth, and then you have a lot of product here. This is beautiful. This is definitely more high shine. You get some shine here, but this is a much thinner product. She's expensive. She's like, what, $32? $30 something now. I remember when it was like 25 and then it went to 29 and now it's 30 what? This is a beautiful product, and I like that we're getting a lot in here. You're getting 0.2 ounces. A lot of other lip oils, ones that I get from Beauty Pie, ones I get from Milani from the drugstore, they're like 0.13 or 0.16. So you're getting more product here, even though you are paying more. So it's not as expensive as you would think price per ounce. But I do love these two. If you're looking for lip oils and you're not a fan of pH adjusting things, there's a lot of them that do have that aspect to them. So make sure to look through the description of the product. But the original lip oils from Merit are nice, but the new Shade Slick Gelée lip oils are pH adjusting. I know there are some from Dior that are pH adjusting. There are some of these ones from Clarins that are pH adjusting. There's a one from House Labs. It's actually called the PhD lip oil. Like, there's a lot of adjusting lip shades out there. And if that works for you and you don't get like a crazy color, fantastic, but I just can't. But I like looking for things that give me that nice, glossy, kind of sheer but hydrated look, especially because, you know, my nearly 50-year-old lips do need hydration or they look like a shriveled prune. And now that we're moving into kind of warmer days, I'm going to start wearing less makeup overall and more of a lightweight lip. And that's when things like this really come into play. Thank you so much for watching today. When I get my Sephora order, I will let you know. And here's the deal is I live out in the boonies. My closest Sephora is like 65, almost 70 minutes away one way. And I don't want to drive just to go shop the sale in a small store that doesn't have everything that there is online. So I'm going to have to wait for the mail, for packaging, and it's always delayed during the sale. So sometime next week, you'll maybe see me like, guess what came in my Sephora box? But I want to know how it is that you're planning to navigate these beauty sales. There are a lot of other brands that want your dollars, even though they're sold at Sephora. Like, I'm sure there's going to be, like, Fenty has a sale, and I know Pat McGrath had a sale. Like, everybody's having a sale. There's a lot of money that's being made through beauty, but I would just want you to make sure that you are carefully and cautiously going through, what is it that I need? Or if I want to try something new, what am I likely to use the most? And remember, if you don't like it or it doesn't work for you, take it back, return it. There is a return policy, 30-day return policy for your money back, and 60-day return policy for store credit. Anything beyond that, you're out of luck. But I love that they do that here in the US, because that gives me a chance to try something. And did I get the wrong shade? Oop, this foundation's too dark. Oop, this concealer's too light. And go back and get a different shade. I like that, especially since I'm shopping online. So just something to keep in mind. If it doesn't work for you, return it, make your dollars work for you. Thanks again for watching. Remember, let's make some very deliberate and conscious choices as to what we need and not over purchase. I know I say that and I have a huge collection, but this is kind of what I do. But if I wasn't doing this, I wouldn't have anywhere near this much makeup. So I definitely want you to keep that in mind. Don't feel like you got to keep up with someone like me or somebody with a larger channel, because it's just unrealistic and it's not worth going into debt over makeup, right? Okay. Have a fantastic day, have fun shopping or not shopping, and I'll see you again soon.